All right, and now we welcome on four-time world championship gold medalist. Because I forgot about the indoor title there for a second, but you shouldn't forget. Christian Coleman, welcome to the Olympic year. How does that sound and feel? Like the fact that we're like 200 and something days away from Paris. Before that, we even got the trials, so it's not like it's a sure thing. But what does that feel like to be in the Olympic year now?
Man, it's an incredible feeling, like just humbling, and like grateful, just appreciative. Like, I just have a newfound perspective on just life and the sport and the whole nine as I'm maturing and getting older, man. And so I just don't take these opportunities for granted. And so it's a blessing, especially to know that I have a realistic shot to do something special. I feel like it's the right time for me. Like my body's coming around and feeling how I needed to feel. And mentally I feel like I'm in the best space I've been in. And so there's nothing else to do but to get out there and do it.
You kind of sounded like you were a veteran of the game so far. You're only 27. I guess you turned 28 in March, but does it feel that way? I
Mhm.
guess with the way that these college kids are running and just like all these rising stars that we've had, that like you're a veteran of the 100.
Absolutely. I mean, I feel like I'm a veteran just because it's a young man's game, which is like any athletic sport really. But um, I feel like I'm still a rookie too, and I just had so much more to learn and so much more to do, so much more to go. I feel like I'm right in my prime, right now. So that's why I'm grateful that the Olympic year is happening, like right when I'm feeling my best. And I look at it just like, even when I was a younger guy, like coming into the sport, I felt as if like I just had that same level, just like confidence. And so I didn't necessarily look at myself as like a rookie or a young guy back then. I was just going out there and competing. And I feel like, I'm that same guy. I just go out there and compete and like no matter what the odds or who's on the line, like, you go out there and compete. So when you get out there, it's like age is not a factor. It had nothing to do with anything. So I feel like I'm a veteran just because I've definitely been in a few, high profile races and been around and been consistent over the years. But um, I mean, I just feel like I'm still learning and evolving and got so much more to do, so much more to go. So
Some
yeah.
of these kids can't say that they ever raced Usain Bolt. You could say that you not only raced him, but you beat him at a world championship. So like that you have like for the rest of your career.
100%.
Do you think
Yeah,
about that like as like, oh man, like that's how I started my professional career?
for sure. And I mean, that's why to me, it's just like, really age is no excuse. And then like, well, even, with the college guys, when they say like, oh, it was such a long season, you can't go through this and this and that afterwards. It's just like, man, as long as you just got to like unwavering belief in yourself and then, you consistently putting in the work, you go out there and put your best foot forward and the results will come. And so, yeah, that was my first, major world championship running the individual event. And I'll never forget it. And I feel like I just kind of just got thrown into the deep end. And, you got to either sink or swim and you got to figure it out. But, once, having that experience though, you realize just like, you at the big stage, but it's the same 100 meters. I deserve to be here just as much as anybody else. I guess it was just a little bit of a different feeling because nobody was really expecting me to, you know, um, win or go out there and perform how I did. But um, it's a little bit of a different feeling. Like after that, over the years, it's just like having a different level of expectation. So like, it was cool for that to be my first time, and then being Usain Bolt's like last race, like the pressure was off of me, like and the expectations was off of me too. It's just I can go out there and just like soak it all in, and then just lock in and go compete. And so, man, I'll never forget that time in my career and never forget that race either. Like that definitely popped me off and gave me a lot of confidence.
Put us in the mindset of like an elite sprinter and being one of the best in the world. What changes in your day-to-day life when that calendar flips from December 2023 to January 2024? Like, is there just a bit more intensity in practice? Or are you just being super more careful and all these attention to little details just because this is the year that you work towards every 4 years?
Nah, I feel like, man, if you got to flip a switch, it's too late. I feel like, I've been locked in and, we've been training and we've been going at it and it's all a process. And the biggest thing for me is just staying healthy and just staying patient. You can't do anything out of the ordinary. You can't go and try to go get something that you haven't practiced or, try to go do something extra. It's just like, nah, I mean, it's just another year. It's just, what we do every single year. You go through fall training and, it's the top of the year, so it's newfound energy, just newfound opportunity, of course, but like the same level of consistency, the same level of intensity, man. It's been like that, and so we just gonna continue to do what we do.
I'd love that answer because I feel like you could read so many people based off of like, oh no, now this year they're just trying to do too much. And when you do that, it starts showing up in practices or in races where it's like, oh, they're forcing it at the end or they're trying to, I don't know, like I love that
Hmm.
approach that it's like, oh, it's not just this year all of a sudden things get more important. It's like it's a culmination of all these years of work. So we're
Yeah,
chatting because we've got a special announcement. You'll be running at the 2024 Millrose Games, headlining the men's 60. This is
yes, sir.
becoming an annual tradition for you, I guess. What do you love about the
Yeah.
Millrose Games and kicking off kind of the indoor season and setting the tone for the year with that meet?
Yeah, 100%. Like we were just saying before, it's like my third time coming in a row, so it's been kind of like just a annual like season opener for me in the 60. Especially in America, it's not that many indoor races, in the indoor season, first off, but then definitely not as many like big indoor races. So like I feel like this is, the biggest regular season indoor meet in the US. And so I feel like it's very intense. Like the fans are able to appreciate all the talent that's coming up there to New York. I feel like it's a very intimate type of venue at the Armory, so I love that aspect of it. The fans up there are very knowledgeable about the sport. It's a little cold, but we get inside and it warms up, and we try to put on a show. And so it's been super exciting the past 2 years, and I feel like I'm feeling even better than I did last year. So I'm excited to try to get out there and come out with a win and start the season off really good.
Last year, it was one of the best races of that whole entire meet. I mean, it was a little chaotic at the start. Noah gets DQ'd, runs under protest. You kept your calm throughout all of that. You won, and then afterwards, I thought your celebration was pretty badass with just sort of like the hush and then the shoulder shrug. So what does a meet like that do for you the rest of the year? Like, just is it a confidence thing, or what is the big takeaway from nailing the biggest meet in America, like you said, for indoors?
Yep. Um, I mean, I feel like it's the same approach, like really every meet, but definitely, I mean, every opportunity that you get out there, like that's an opportunity to get better. Like that's an opportunity to sharpen your sword and just, what I'm saying, continue to get to get better because like the whole season, is a full game, is a full battle. And so it's just like, you might lose one portion or whatever, but it's still more races to win or still more races to run. And I feel like you just try not to get too high, too low. But every time you step out there, you definitely want to come with that level of competitiveness and intensity. And especially when you're going up against, world class guys, that's your opportunity to get out there and see where you fare with the best in the world. And so um I mean, it's definitely, a big opportunity, a big race, especially you want to start the season off well. But I feel like indoors, we kind of just look at it as an opportunity, just continue to get better because obviously the most important thing is outdoors and being ready for the Olympic trials. And so, running indoors for me is just like one of those times where like if you can run really fast in the winter while we're still kind of going through a heavy training load and everything.
What makes a good 60-meter dash? And get as technical and as nerdy as you want with me here, because like obviously a big thing is getting a great start, because if you don't get a great start, it's over. The race is over and it gets away from you very quickly. But what's made you so good out of the blocks that you've mastered those, six and less than 6.5 seconds?
Ooh, I guess it's just the aspect of how you look at what technically is like a great start. It's not just about having a fast reaction or just like getting off the blocks quick. Like speed is nothing but just like um power and your ability to apply it at like certain angles. And so obviously the 60 just magnifies that and makes it way more intense in terms of just like how you build speed and you know what I'm saying, how you actually setting up your race. Because you don't have as much time on the back end. So you try to gotta be just as efficient as possible off the block. But like I said before, like it's not just about like being quick and trying to get the 10 meters first. It's like actually like setting up your race so that like you can continue to keep accelerating from 10 to 20 and then you know continue to accelerate and get on top of your run from 20 to 30 and 30 to 40. Like honestly, I feel like I try to set it up the same way, you know, I would in the 100. The 60, I mean, you might come about your drive phase a little bit sooner, but it's pretty much the same series that you go through, like the same mental like reps that you go through, and just trying to like set your run up. And so definitely I would say like, you know, a lot of power goes into it. Like, you know, you definitely want to be strong and able to like, you know, like have the great core strength to be able to like hold those angles and stay low and hold your drive phase out. Um and I don't know. It's like I know you said we can go as nerd as we can. I don't know if you add specifics or whatever, I could talk about it. But like, really, it's just I try to just set it up the same way I do the 100. You know, so and try not to just be too quick. Just big, active, open, patient, and take it right through 60 like I'm running to 100.
Well, just think about how you explain all of that, and that took more than 6 seconds. And I've
Yeah,
asked this to Noah and to Trey before, but how are you thinking of all this stuff? You know, the angles, the power, all that, when you're just getting into the blocks. Does it come down to just like you've practiced this so many times that you just know how the body feels and what to do when that gun goes off?
absolutely. That's what I was gonna say. Like when you get into those moments, it's like you can't think. You know, you have to go like it's like once you get into competition, you're not gonna be able to call upon something that your body has never done. You're not gonna be able to like pull something out of you that you haven't felt before. Like, you know, when you get in those high intensity moments and right before a race, like your body is gonna do exactly what you coached it to do, what you trained it to do. And sometimes like that's a good thing because you have good habits, and then sometimes a bad thing because you have bad habits. And even if like consciously you want to try to like improve on certain things, when the gun goes off and it's time to go, like those bad habits that you were accumulating in practice, like they're gonna show. And so you know, a lot of times like when the gun goes off and it just happens, like those good habits that you have practiced and trained yourself to do, like they show as well. And you just continue to try to get better at that and just find your frequency like at the start before the race and when the gun goes off, like the certain cues, maybe one or two that you want to tell yourself that you're gonna do, but you can't come to the line like thinking of you know too much. Like it just it's like muscle memory at that point. Whatever you've coached your body to do, whatever you've trained it to do, you kind of just gotta let it happen at that point.
Getting into the blocks, like do you feel like all the rest of the field in a 60 cues off of you a little bit because they know that you have the best start? Like that was the one thing I just went back and watched, like the 60 from Millrose last year, and then I think it was Otto Bolden on the call said it was like, oh, the reason Noah moved so much is because he may have felt something from you, or he's trying to respond to how quick you're going to get out of the blocks. That people know you're going to be the one with the fast start. So do you sense that sort of when you get into the blocks that is like everyone, the rest of the field is going to cue off of you?
uh yeah, I sense that a little bit. I mean, I mean, I don't want to give away too much of my hand on my cards, like, cause I got it's like no matter what people feel like is going to happen or what it looks like on paper or like what you think the race might go, like you still got to get out there and you actually have to do it. And so, from my standpoint, it's just like even if I know somebody might be trying to cue off me or whatever, like I can't allow that to change my game, but you know what I'm saying, switch up like my focus or switch up my race pattern. It's just I get out there and do what I feel as if like, you know, my coach has been telling me to do, the things that we've been working on in practice, what I've been training myself to do. My little cues that I have, like I might master one thing and then it's just like another thing is a little off. So I'm more so focused on this, like making sure I do this when I come out of the blocks and when I get to 15, 20, like another cue might pop in my head to, do this. And so I had to just I think like you said, it's definitely like I can feel that energy that when I come when I come to the start line, like certain people just like, okay, like I gotta try to set it up or whatever. But like I said, it's like you can't do anything different than what you have coached yourself to do. And that same thing applies to me. Like I can't go into the race knowing it's just like, okay, everybody expect me to do this and this and that. Just nah, let me go through my race pattern and do exactly what I know is gonna get me from point A to point B the fastest. And doing that is just like focusing on my race pattern, like my setup, my cues, blocking out everything else, and um, letting other people worry about like what my race pattern might be and what I'm planning on doing that day. And I just focus on me. But the great ones know that though. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the people who are world class, they not necessarily coming into it. In my opinion, they shouldn't at least, trying to like cue their race like off of me or whatever. It's like, nah, you gotta do what you gotta do for you. And I do the same thing for me. So
Not to diminish like indoor season, but like you kind of did say, like there's so many things you're working through during the indoor season in the 60 that's going to help, in the 100. And
mhm.
over the last couple of years, and even Bolt was sort of this way where they skipped the indoor season. Like they just, they're just training through it. Do you ever feel like you're giving away like too much? Like in terms of just like with all these races and this video that is out there of you getting into the start, that it's like it is sort of like a public practice, but people can see like how you've evolved throughout the indoor season. You never feel like, hey, like, oh, Fred hasn't run indoors, so it's like, hey, but he sees everything that I'm doing. What's Fred doing? Or I guess like, you've said it enough times already that it's like, no, you just worry about yourself and your own race execution.
Yeah, definitely nobody else come to mind. And if anything, shoot, I feel like if they want to watch, please, I'm gonna put on the show for everybody. Like, and it ain't gonna change nothing when it comes down to outdoors. And everybody's process is different. Like you just said, like some people feel like let me just train through indoors and then I start my process outdoors. Like somebody like me, it's like, let me get out there indoors and actually continue to like keep progressing and keep sharpening my tool. And I'm a still be ready outdoors as well. Just when I get outdoors, I don't have to like run as many races. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm still staying sharp. And so when I get outdoors, I know when I step out there, like I'm gonna be ready. And so nah, I don't really look at it like that or feel as if like I'm giving too much away or whatever. Like especially just because like if I'm gonna do something, like I want to be the best at it, and so it just I'm running indoors, I want to win. I'm running
Yeah.
outdoors, I
And you
want to
make money
win
along
too.
the way too. That's the sweet part. If you're good at it, you're gonna you cash in on the talent too. So no, that's an extra
100%.
plus. Uh
100%.
all right. So 2022, the first year back from the suspension, it was all about you getting kind of your feet back under you into a good racing pattern. Did the 100, did you feel like it changed a little bit in that time away from not being able to race? Like was Marcel, was Fred, were these guys doing anything different that you also had to kind of adjust to in that first year back? And then in 2023, I mean, you qualified for Worlds, you made the final again. It's not like you lost that much of a step from the time away.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody did anything different. I think it was just me just having to just get back to being me, really. I think shoot, if you take 2.5, 3 years off of your job and then just try to hop back in it, you might be a little rusty. It's hard to get better at something without doing it, even if like you practicing or whatever. But like I said, like every race is an opportunity to sharpen your tool, to continue to progress and to continue to move forward and to continue to like get better. And like you learn something in this race and it's like, man, you know what I'm saying? I did some good things. I, continue to do that. I did some poor things. Let me, knock the rust off that and continue to progress. But if you don't have those opportunities and, even if you're just practicing or whatever, it's hard to continue to get better. So I felt that way. I mean, 2022, I just knew physically I wasn't going to be exactly like where I needed to be. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. You got to get out there and you got to take your lumps and you got to take your L's, and you know what I'm saying. You don't make no excuses. I still just stay that same level of like competitor. I get out there and get after it, go compete, keep sharpening my tool, and then you know, you go back to the drawing board and continue to work hard. And so I knew that year was gonna be rough for me, like not only mentally, because at that point it's just like obviously I'm dealing with a whole other aspect and components that like other people don't have to face and don't have to deal with, and that's fine. I feel like I'm built for that. But physically, that yeah, I knew I just wasn't gonna be like, you know, exactly where I needed to be, but I still had to get out there and compete. I felt like last year, you know, the 2023 season, like physically, I felt as if like I was right on par with like the best in the world. You know what I'm saying? Like I felt like I was capable of winning any race on any given day versus anybody. It was more so just like I had, if I wanted to win, I had to take a mental step for myself. You know, I had to shed skin and let certain things go. You know, I had to let God work inside of me. I had to let God work out situations around me, and me just focus on what I need to focus on so that I can just find my frequency, like, you know what I'm saying, be the best Christian Coleman that I can be. You know, like I can't control a lot of other aspects and factors. It's like I know my truth, I know who I am, I know what I'm capable of. I have to do what I need to do to find that frequency. And even if I knew that coming into the season, that it's just like, okay, I feel good, but I know this gonna be the mental year for me. I got to take another step mentally. You know what I'm saying? It's still hard to do that, you know, even in the midst of, you know, um, what you're going through. I like to, you know, say like even if you know, like, okay, I know I'm finna go through this dark tunnel. In the middle of the tunnel, it's gonna get dark, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you know, you could tell certain people that, but then when you actually start and you go down that path, you go into the tunnel, and then all of a sudden it get pitch black, and they say, oh, I didn't know you said it was gonna be this dark. You know what I'm saying? And they turn back, like, nah, you know, it's just one of the things. Like, even if you say and you know that mentally I had to take another step in the midst of that and trying to find it, it's tough. And so that's why I felt like 2023 was the year where I had to just take another leap. Mentally, spiritually, emotionally for myself. You know what I'm saying? I feel like finally, like toward the end of the season, I feel like I started to feel my best, like find my frequency, like as I'm stepping to the line, as I'm, you know, going through my race, like still able to like execute certain things while like I'm consciously um executing my race like in my mind, like putting it all together. Um and I felt as if like even like, you know, like you said, like having some time off is like that was in time where I'm just even maturing as a man and as a person. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like from 22 years old to 25 years old, now I'm 27. Like it's just like damn track. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to just like, you know, figure out who I am as a person, like, you know what I'm saying, and just like elevating in the world. So a lot of factors, you know what I'm saying, that I felt as if like coming into 2023, physically I was ready. Mentally, I knew I had to take another step. And I feel like this year is just putting it all together. Like I feel like it's nothing else holding me back. There's nothing else holding me back. I feel like I'm not even focused or I don't see anything else but just me being me. So it's
That
time
tunnel
for
you described, like, when did you make it out? We see sort of like the season's best time, I think, came at the 2 weeks after the World Championships, and then you again won at the pre-classic. Is that you making it out of that tunnel that you described?
in some aspect, I feel like, but you know, life is just a series of phases. So I feel like in that moment right there, or that latter part of the season, I felt as if like I figured some things out and I was able to like overcome and find a certain frequency to where like I had to move on to like the next phase. And so it's gonna be a next series of challenges. It's like I don't think you ever really like make it out that tunnel in general, but it's just like, you know, like that aspect of it, I guess that tunnel that I was in, that I was going through, I feel like you're right. Like, you know, I was able to find my frequency and just like, okay, I seen the light, I seen the other side. And I was able to just sprint through forward and like make it. And then, but now, you know what I'm saying? It's just like it's time to climb another mountain. You know what I'm saying? And so like it just might look a little different than it did before. But you know, life is just always gonna be a series of up and downs and challenges and tunnels that you got to go through. And I know this season is gonna, you know, present its own challenges, but with everything that I learned the past 2 seasons, like, you know, I'm able to just be more equipped and um have the proper tools to be able to, you know, figure some things out, you know, that I didn't have before. And so I know it's gonna be a different set of challenges coming into this year, but I feel like I'm better prepared for it mentally and physically. And it's just like I'm just more focused and um I don't know, I just feel like it's my time, man. So it's just I just gotta go out there and do what I know I can do. And that's it.
I'm sure the timing of it stings a little bit, right? Like that it's you start putting things together really well 2 weeks after like the World Championships and then at the pre-classic. And then if it was like if you don't set the schedule and that's sports, right? Like with any other thing, like you can have not the best day on the biggest stage. What happened in Budapest with the 100 final there? I guess like where it for a while, like you were up in the front and then it got away from you at the very end. I'm sure you're not the kind of guy who goes back and watches some like those races, but have you gone back to revisit exactly what technically went wrong in that race?
Of course. I mean, like I watch all my races. That's how you continue to get better. And I feel like that's what I'm saying. Like in terms of me just figuring out like trying to be the best athlete I can be, like especially mentally, it's like I take the losses just like I take the wins, the same exact way. Nothing really changes. Um, and so I honestly, I mean, like looking back at the race, I just had like a little bit of a misstep, probably on step like what was it, either 3 or 4, and I kind of caught myself. And like I said, acceleration is all about like angles and continue to project yourself down the track horizontally. When you catch yourself up underneath you, it's just like, your next step is just gonna be like to go vertical, and like you got to like basically your body gonna recalibrate. Just like, okay, I had a misstep here. Well, let's, you know what I'm saying, fix it on this side, and then maybe we can get it back right. And in that moment with that happening, because I felt as if like even like it wasn't even about timing. Like I was ready. I was ready to win that race. And I felt as if like my body was ready to go do something that maybe mentally I just wasn't ready to go do just yet. You know what I'm saying? And so I feel like in that moment, it gave me more encouragement because I'm like, I mean, I done came out the block over 10,000 times. You know how they say you put your 10,000 hours in, like that might happen 2, 3, 4 times or whatever. And then you go back in the blocks and you fix it, and then you come out the blocks again and you feel good. And it just so happened in that race, something like that happens. But in that moment, it's just like, even though, I had a misstep, it's like I'm still pulling away. Like I'm still accelerating. I'm still moving down the track like I'm the best in the world. Why am I panicking? You know what I'm saying? Like what, like it was no need for that. If I would have just stayed patient and just do what I know I do, it could have been a different outcome. But I felt as if like I needed that race to be able to teach me that lesson, you know? And so I mean, you might be salty a little bit about the race, but definitely not thinking about just like the timing, because that would be me making an excuse. Everybody know what the date is of the championship. So it ain't no, oh, I wish I had a little bit more time. Like, nah, it is what it is. I was ready. I was prepared. When my coach had me ready and I was ready to do something special, I know physically I was where I needed to be. Like I said before, just mentally, I knew I had to take another step. And I feel like in that moment right there, the lessons I've learned over the years, it's just like, you got to take the good with the bad, and like you just can't question God's timing. Like, and certain things just kind of just happen exactly how they're supposed to. And if you truly believe that, then you got to always find a silver lining and always be in search of like the lessons that you need to be prepared for that next phase. And so it was just like, I mean, for me, I felt like mentally it was just like, it was just one of the like final tests that I had to take and go through to be able to overcome. We're just like, not yet. Like it ain't your time just yet, you know. And I felt like I was just more encouraged. I feel like I gained confidence after that race. Looking back at it, just like, oh, I'm tripping. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and you just continue to sharpen your sword. But the only way to continue to get better in those moments is to be in those moments and to feel what you need to feel in those moments. And so after that race, I went back to the drawing board, cleaned some things up. Um, and you know what I'm saying, took another step like mentally, spiritually, emotionally, even physically, and rolled it back out there. And you know what I'm saying, you seen the race in China, did what I needed to do, and then came to Prefontaine and did what I needed to do. And now I feel like going into 2024 season, it's just gonna be a different set of challenges that I have to face and overcome. But it's gonna look differently because I've learned different lessons that I needed to learn in previous phases. And so yeah, I'm fully prepared to take it there. Like I feel like it's my time now. Like it's no excuses. It's nothing stopping me. You know what I'm saying, from doing what I know I'm capable of doing. Um, and that's the exciting part. Like that's the blessing right there. Cause it's just like everything happened exactly how it's supposed to. And I recognize that and I ain't get discouraged. I kept moving forward. And now I'm ready. I'm ready to step into my time. Yeah.
Each time I've asked one of these questions and there's like a little qualifier in it to like soften the blow or to, give you the exit for like an excuse, you don't take it. You're just like, no, this is what happened and there's no excuses. And I've learned from this race and it is what it is. So I guess like in your honesty that you kind of shared here, the big question I think like some people were wondering, and you see this from the internet coaches and the people on Twitter, all that stuff from why was last year so slow in the 100? Like people want to see the 9.7s and there's Fred and Trey and Marvin going back at each other with these public bets about who's going to be the first one to run 9.7. You stay quiet through all of it, which I like because you let the work speak for itself. But there was, I guess, a little level of disappointment from people. It was like we didn't see the flashy time just yet. So, what's your theory as to like why everyone was kind of pretty leveled at, the 9.8s and the 9.9s last year?
I mean, one thing I will say, I feel like slow is a strong word because I mean, yeah, it's a world lead for a reason. Cause ain't nobody else in the world ran faster. So I mean, that don't seem like slow to me. I mean, like in comparison to like, I don't even know who else you want to name. I didn't, like you said, I didn't face Bolt before, like anybody. So it's just like I don't know. I've been a part of the era before and I'm a part of the era now. So I'm the same guy. It's just like, certain things just happen that way. You gotta, it's just like, like even at Prefontaine, I feel like the win was what, like 0.2 or something like that. And it's 983. So shoot, you give me a 1.5 win behind me, that's 976. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so it's just everything gotta, work out perfectly, for things to happen that way. And I feel like it just, I don't know, it was just that year. I mean, I feel like you can go back in history and do that with like any race. You know what I'm saying? Where you could just, you look at the 400 hurdles or just like the 200 or the 800s, be like, oh, this was a down year. Like this was a year where, like, you know what I'm saying, like not as many people ran as fast as we've seen people run before. But in those type of years, I feel as if like you really find like who's consistent, like who are the true champions, like, you know what I'm saying? Because it's just like, to me, it's not about the times. Like if it's something to be won, I want to win it, and I don't care what time it take to win it. I'm trying to go get it. And that's what track and field is about. Is now, to me, it's not really about like the flash in the pan, flashy times and things of that nature. It's just like, nah, like just like, I grew up, we raced from light pole to light pole. Ain't no time. I'm finna show you what I do. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I feel like track and field, just the fans got to take another step too. Cause it's just like, bro, just appreciate what y'all watching out there. Because the what it takes to even like get to that line, especially like in those high caliber races, world championships, Prefontaine, Diamond League finals, um, Diamond League races, just like professional races in general. Like it's just, man, like what track and field athletes go through to be able to make it to those points and get to that line, and to take their body to another level. Like, man, it's a lot of people just couldn't even imagine. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of blood, sweat, and tears goes into it. And to me, it's just, I don't know, it's a little just disrespectful just because I know what it takes to just get to that line. So I respect all track athletes. I don't care about no times, anything like that. We line it up and let's see what it is. And then sometimes, a, a great time comes. When you just consistently being a competitor, that's when the greatness happens. That's when the great times come. But I feel like you can ask, anybody who's ever ran like a super fast time in any race. It's just like, nah, I wasn't necessarily like trying to go run that time. It's just like I'm trying to win. Like, and it's something I know what I'm capable of. But if I'm sitting here like trying to basically over exaggerate myself trying to go get a certain time. It's just like, you ain't gonna execute your race. If you just focus on executing, like the time will come. So I don't know. I think everything just kind of happens for a reason and works out that way. But um, I, I don't know.
Yeah.
It was 983s last year. I mean, I don't know. You can go back in history and look. I mean, it might have been certain times where like you might have one or two guys run 9.7, then like it might be like a huge dropout where it ain't too many 9.8s. You know what I'm saying? Then you have a lot of 9.9. So it all is accumulative and evens out, man.
Yeah.
And I'm more so just focused on just like I feel like the fans just appreciate like what they watching and the talent because like these are the best athletes in the world by far. By what I'm saying, like it's no comparison like what it takes to make it to that line.
That eliminates my next question because it was going to be about the fact that like there's been enough talk among, Noah's the most vocal of all of them to say, I want to break Bolt's records and run this fast. And, Trey and Fred have done similar things in the past about running, and they throw numbers out there. You're one of those guys who you're the fastest of the bunch and have never said a word about, any of these times. You just explained why you're more concerned with winning. Is a little part of it too just like the reverence you have for the like Bolt? What made him good was the fact that he won so much and the times came as a result. Like you're just not as vocal about putting it out there like I'm going to run this fast. It's never been in your nature.
Yeah, I don't really like to talk too much, man, or say too much. I mean, and I'm not really into the antics and stuff like that. I feel like I mean that ain't gonna change what's gonna happen when we get out there. So I mean, it ain't really if it's not conducive to me propelling myself forward and me staying focused and doing what I know that I am capable of doing. It's just like, what's the point, And so, yeah, I leave that to the other guys, and I think everybody has different a level healthy level of respect for everyone is because like what it takes to like I said before like get to that line especially as a 100 guy like it's so many like technical aspects that go into it like um so yeah man I don't know different strokes for different folks but I
All
just
right, so
go out there and get the job done.
at some point this year, I'm going to have the opportunity to ask every single one of you, Fred, Noah, Trey, Marcel, all these guys, like, who is the Olympic favorite in the 100, right? And you're obviously going to pick yourself. You've said a couple times now, like, you believe that this is your time. Why else should, it doesn't matter who I pick, but why should the people get behind you as, like, I believe Christian Coleman's the Olympic favorite?
I mean, shoot, it's just like if you've been
It's a hard
watching it,
question. I'm sorry.
yeah, it's just like I don't even like to talk about myself too much. But I mean, if you've been watching over the years, I mean, and you've been paying attention to me, I feel like you know what it is.
All right, I'll take that. Final questions before I let you go, Christian. World champion indoors in 2018, silver in 2022. Are you going for it this year? World indoors potentially, like as you build out your schedule?
Yeah, that's the goal. um, I should run like we were saying. I'll probably run a indoor 200 just to kind of like we train it through. And that's like the week before Millrose, and then I'll do Millrose, and then I think USA's is 2 weeks after that, and then I think the World Championships is 2 weeks after that. So indoors go by pretty quickly and pretty fast. But those are the races that I plan on doing, and from there we'll have a little bit time off to get ready for outdoors and continue. You know what I'm saying, going from there. So that's the plan indoors though for sure.
All right, another one. I noticed this from just like the close-up shots they have from when you're getting into the blocks. You race in an Apple Watch a lot, right?
Sometimes, yeah, yeah.
Do you ever get like, hey, your heart rate is like crazy high, or do you ever look at that kind of stuff afterwards?
Nah, I feel like honestly, I started wearing an Apple Watch. Like I don't even know, like probably my sophomore, junior year in college at Tennessee, and at this point, it's just like it's more like a comfortability thing, like just having something there, honestly. Like it's like I don't even really um focus too much on like my heart rate and all the other stuff. Uh but it feel like it would be cool to have that type of information. But I really don't pay too much attention to it. It's just one of the things where it's just like I don't know, every like little detail I feel like about somebody stepping to the line, like you probably don't even know like just like the little things that go on in like track and field athletes' minds. And so like that's just one of those things, like, you know, some people like to wear, you know, jewelry in the chain. But for me it's just like I don't like to feel any like anything like hitting up against me as I'm running, you know what I'm saying? I feel like it just kind of throw me off a little bit. Um and it's like if you are gonna do something, you gotta like actually like I don't know, you gotta try it first, and then like it might not be comfortable. So it's just like me just wearing an Apple Watch has just like been something that I just like has just felt comfortable with just like having it there. And then like it'd be times where just like even in practice, like if it's not there, then it's just like it feels a little weird, you
Really?
know. So yeah, but we'll see, because this is a big year for me, and Apple is not paying me to endorse
No,
it.
I
Like,
know. I was gonna
so
say that was my follow-up question. If there was a bigger like watch sponsor, you'd be like, all right, I could easily replace the Apple Watch.
100,000%. So we'll get that going, and for sure. But it definitely is just like it's like a comfort thing, just having something right there for sure at this point. Yeah.
All right. This offseason, Rye Benjamin got into cycling. For you, besides track and football, what sport do you think you would have the best shot of turning pro at? If someone gave you, hey, all right, you're taking the year off from track, all in on another sport, what would it be?
Um, you said besides football.
Yeah, because the obvious one would have been football.
Honestly, if you give me a year to just train, maybe bowling.
Really?
To be honest with you, bro, like I feel like my bowling skills is pretty decent. And that's just me just going, you know what I'm saying, like periodically every once in a while. So it's like if I'm just finna lock in and train and do whatever they probably do, finger exercise and the whole
Yeah.
nine, like I feel like I could be pretty good at it. So I go with that.
I didn't expect that answer. What is the closest you've gotten, I guess, like call from NFL teams for tryouts? Like the throwers get that all the time. Like in the last couple of years, have you received any?
Nah, and I mean, the last time where like anything like realistically came about where like, you know what I'm saying, people were talking about football, definitely when I was in college. Like, I don't know if you remember, like I had ran like the 40 video. That was like my junior year at Tennessee. Um, and after that, you know what I'm saying, you know, the football coaches, you know, come around and just be like, hey, like, you know, you want to come out here and do some things, like we can put a little package in there for you, or you can return kicks or punts and stuff like that. But in the NFL, not really, just because I haven't really like pursued it like that either, you know. So I mean, it just hasn't really been like a option for me. I just felt as if like, you know, my path was, you know, for me to run track. And it's just like for me, but the thing is though, in another lifetime, you know, maybe football really could have been like, you know what I'm saying, something that's realistic for me, especially how like the NFL is played today. And I see Tyreek Hill out there. He looks like a man amongst boys sometimes. And it's just like, it's absurd. And I know what I was actually really capable of doing like in high school. Like I really played, like, and I was really nice. So I don't know. But it just, you know, I feel like I've never really like just ever like, you know what I'm saying, seriously considered it. So
Yeah.
nah.
All right, my final question. I've been training for marathons recently, and maybe I could run 14 seconds for the 100 right now. If I shifted my focus and you were my coach full time for the next 6 months, how fast could you get me?
6 months, and you said you feel like you can hit about what, like a 14 right
I
now.
I have no idea, but let's say that.
First off, we'll probably start in the weight room a little bit. The first 3 months, then we'll get out there and taper off a little bit. I mean, hopefully I can get you down to a 12 flat. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? I feel as if like, you know, that would make you a lot of very competitive in majority of female races, especially, you know, high school females. But I
I'll
don't
take it.
know. But I feel as if like, maybe we had a little bit more time, you might be able to get down to, 11 mid. But I don't know. You tell me. I haven't really seen your stride.
So in high school, I was a sprinter. I ran 25-1 for the 200, but that's
Yeah.
10 years ago. We'll go. All right,
That's
come
what I'm saying.
Millrose week.
I would have to see you. I would have to, what I'm saying, look at you and see your movement and the whole nine and see what your stride looks like. And then I would have a better idea then.
When you're done with your block starts and your shakeout stuff the day before on that Saturday at the Armory, we'll get a little video going of you just kind of giving me a
Yeah.
couple cues. But Christian, consider it done, coach. All right, Christian, I appreciate you taking the time for this. We'll link up when you're in New York City, and before we know it, Millrose Games will be here, and the
Yes,
the
sir.
road to Paris begins.
Man, it begins, and I appreciate it, man. Absolutely.